Hey guys, what's up? It's Miss Cameron. Welcome back to another video here from us at Starbase. Unfortunately, we still are working from home, but we are still having so much fun making these videos for you. I hope you're enjoying our Wild Wednesdays with Mr. Maddox, and you have started to enjoy the technology videos we have been putting out. We put out a Scratch video last week, a Scratch tutorial. I hope you had fun and you learned a little bit from that. There will be a few more of those videos coming up, but today we are going to be doing something that you can do in your own home out of objects that you already have around your house. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making a density tower. So this is one of the things that the kids get most excited about at Starbase when they come and visit us, is because they basically get to make their own density tower in straws. But here today, I'm going to be making one for you out of this vase. And so I have a few objects here. I have these lined up from heaviest to least heaviest. And whenever I say heaviest to least heaviest, I mean, I'm talking about their density. So you may be asking, what is density? Well, density is how much mass a substance has in a given space, or how spread apart or how close together those molecules are in that substance. Density also has its own equation. Density equals mass divided by volume. We're not going to be so much worried about that today, but we are going to be worried about which of these liquids is the heaviest and which of these is the least heaviest, okay? So I already have them lined up from heaviest to least heaviest. I'm going to let you kind of make your own predictions as to which one you think is going to sink to the bottom, which one is going to float on top. Do you think any of these are going to mix together? Do you think there is going to be 5 distinct layers? What do you think is going to happen? So what I'm going to do is I am going to go through and show you what all I have. You can use these objects or any other objects you might want to use. You can make as big or as little of a density tower as you like. So you can do this at home depending on the amount of objects available to you and the amount of supplies available to you. So you can have a density tower that is 2 layers thick, or you can have one that is 10 layers thick, depending on how much you have available to you. So first thing is first, always make sure that whatever you are making your density tower in, make sure you have some sort of covering over whatever you may be pouring over, or maybe a tray or a little paper plate that has a lip. That way if you tend to spill or anything like that, it can catch some of that substance before it spills all over the table. Another thing you're going to need is paper towels. You never know when you're going to need paper towels, so always have these handy, unless you are good at not spilling, but Miss Cameron spills a lot, okay? So just make sure you have something to wipe up any messes around. All right, so let's see what I have here. So the first thing I have is pancake syrup, okay? Everybody loves pancakes. Miss Cameron loves pancakes. The next thing we have is dish soap. So this is what you would use to wash your dishes, things like that. The next we have is water, and I do have some food coloring that I will put in the water for y'all, just to kind of distinguish the difference between which layer is the water and then which layer is the rubbing alcohol. Next thing I have is canola oil. You can use any kind of cooking oil you have, whether it be vegetable oil, canola oil, any kind of baking oil that you have in your kitchen will suffice. And then the last thing we have is 70% rubbing alcohol. So what I'm going to do is I have these in order from least to heaviest. That is my prediction, is that I think I need to put the heaviest one on bottom and the lightest one on top. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting these in there for y'all. All right, there is my pancake syrup. So these layers are gonna mix a little bit, but depending on your prediction on if you make a density tower, they're gonna separate a little bit. So if it looks like they're mixing, don't worry, give it a little bit and they will separate out, as long as it has been put in the correct order from heaviest to least heaviest, okay? So next I'm going to put in my Dawn dish soap. so if you can see here, they are starting to kind of separate a little bit. You can still see that there is some brown on the bottom and the green, and I don't know if you can see very closely, but they are starting to kind of separate. All right, so far so good. So my prediction of going from heaviest to least heaviest has been correct. All right, so let's keep going. Now we are going to go with the water. This is the one that Miss Cameron is a little bit nervous about, because if you think about the consistency of dish soap, it's kind of sticky, and when you pour it out, it doesn't just splatter everywhere like water does, okay? So we'll see how this works. All right, so there is the water, and it looks like it is separating nicely. There is some bubbles on top, but that's gonna happen whenever you are mixing water and soap. So what I'm gonna do for y'all now is I'm gonna take out my food coloring. What color do I not have up here? I think I am gonna go with blue, okay? So I'm gonna put my food coloring in here. And if you think back to my States of Matter video, I did an experiment where I had a cup of hot water and I had a cup of cold water. And I put drops of food coloring in there to see which one the food coloring would disperse faster in. And if you think back to that video, the hot water actually dispersed that food coloring faster because the hot water had more kinetic energy in it, so it was causing those molecules to travel a little bit faster. So that is pretty cool. All right, so it's still kind of settling, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the next liquid, and that is canola oil. And like I said, whatever type of baking oil you have in your kitchen should work just fine. All right, guys, so the canola oil did turn blue, but that's just because the food coloring is still kind of concentrated on the top. It is okay that it did turn blue because you can still see the distinct layers. We still have the pancake syrup at the bottom. We have your dish soap next. Next was your water with the blue food coloring, and we all know that oil floats on top of water. So this lighter blue substance right here is your canola oil. All right, so last thing we have is the rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol, unlike the pancake syrup, will splatter everywhere when you pour it out, because if you were to pour out this pancake syrup, it wouldn't just like spread everywhere really quick like when you spill a glass of milk. It would just kind of take its time, and that is because the molecules in that substance are so packed together that it doesn't really move very fast. But if we were to race these two, which one do you think would win? Okay, think about that. Always think about which one would travel a little bit faster. All right, so now I'm gonna pour my rubbing alcohol in here and we'll see what happens. This one may turn blue as well, but we should still be able to kind of see the distinct layers. All right, guys, so that is our density tower. So we have the pancake syrup at the bottom. The pancake syrup has the most density because all those molecules are really packed together in there. Like I said, if you were to spill it out on the table, then it wouldn't travel as fast as when you would pour water out. The next we have is the dish soap. You can still kind of see that light green right here. The next we have is the water with the food coloring right here. And then we have our canola oil. And then on top of that, there is the rubbing alcohol. So that is just something that you can do at your own home. So I am gonna go and let this just kind of sit for a little bit, and I'm gonna see if these layers will kind of disperse a little bit more, separate a little bit more, that way you can really see that visibility and where each layer starts and stops. So a little fun fact about density towers is that you can use just about anything. You just have to keep in mind the density of the substance that you are using. So in our experiment that we just did, we went from heaviest to least heaviest, okay? And then we also used food coloring, which shouldn't affect it just that much. We just used food coloring to help disperse the different color clear liquids in the density tower. But yeah, that is just a really quick at-home density tower that you can do with just about anything. So we know that this density tower is made up of liquids, one of 3 states of matter: solids, liquids, and gases. So all of these are liquids, and even though liquid does its own thing, kind of floats around everywhere it wants, doesn't have a defined shape, takes the shape of its container, it is still considered matter. Matter has different densities, so some will be heavier and some will be lighter, thus being why some of these sunk to the bottom and some of these floated to the top. So if you can see here in our second camera view, you can see kind of where all of the layers start and stop. It may be kind of hard to see because there's so much blue food coloring in there, but you can still kind of get the gist and see that there are different layers and they are separated out within this glass. So the heavier the liquid, the more compact those molecules are in there, and the lighter the liquid, like the rubbing alcohol, the less compact they are. So they're just moving about freely. They go wherever they please, where whenever you pour out pancake syrup, you notice that whenever it hits the top of your pancake, it kind of takes a while for it to kind of run off the side, because that's because all those molecules in there are more tightly compact than they would be in, say, the water, canola oil, and the rubbing alcohol. So in other words, all of these liquids are going to separate because they have different densities. So the density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cubed, okay? So water was here in the middle, so that means that the pancake syrup is heavier, so it has a greater density than 1, and then your canola oil and rubbing alcohol has a density less than 1 gram per centimeter cubed, so that's why they are floating on top. If you explore this science concept at home, please share your density tower with us. Let us know if you used any different types of liquids or substances in your density tower. If you have one that is a little bit more colorful than Miss Cameron's, you can always post that as well. We love to see what you're doing at home. One last thing before I sign off, guys, please make sure to check out our page on the San Angelo Gives website. This is a great way to support your local organizations, and it would help us to be able to incorporate more STEM-related activities into the kids' curriculum as they come through our program. So please give that a look if you are so interested. We would really appreciate your donations. But other than that, guys, I really hope you have a great weekend and you are staying safe and healthy, and we'll see you later, guys.